Welcome to Center Stage. My name is Mark Gordon. In 2005, I met Mel Stuart, director of one of my all-time favorite films, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Center stage, center stage, center, center, center stage. Center stage.
I've got to ask you this because I have you in studio here, and
What?
I really loved Willy Wonka.
Thank you.
Tell me about that experience making that film. I mean, now is it true that Gene Wilder, when he originally was cast, wasn't going to do it because he didn't want to do a children's story, and then the script was kind of dark and he bought into the whole thing?
Not quite.
No, not quite.
But all these rumors, they have their longevity and so forth. The simple fact was that Gene walked in. We talked a bit. There was no script yet, but he said a few words about the book and thing. But it was his presence. We had thought about getting Fred Astaire. We had thought about getting Joel Grey, but he was too short. And suddenly Gene walks in with this wicked sense of humor. You could just see it in his eyes. And I knew that this was the man that had to be. And he walked out, and we were at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And he went to the elevator, and I ran after him, and I said, "You have the part."
You didn't read
no
for
matter
it.
what happens, you have this part, and don't worry about the agents and anything else. You must play this film.
Well, what did you see him in prior? Because I remember he was in Bonnie and Clyde. He had a very tiny role in Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, no, it's.
But he had really that film. I mean, he'd done a couple of films, but this was really his big movie, wasn't it, Willy Wonka?
I think so. In the long run, when you look back at his career, now he did Frankenstein, and he did a lot of other good movies with.
But was that after the Willy Wonka?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were all after. He had done the producers, but nobody had really seen it yet.
Right.
It wasn't out. And in fact, this movie I wanted to make in a way that you didn't recognize the main characters. In other words, you didn't go to see a star. Sammy Davis wanted to play the Candyman. And
Well, yeah,
so
because
did
he
Anthony Newley,
ended
but
up-
that would destroy the picture.
Well, he ended up recording that song, the Candyman. But who gave him the bit when he comes out and, they say, Willy Wonka, and he walks out with the cane. He's kind of limping a little bit.
Well, that was something that we both came up with, but he came up with the entrance, let me look not like I really am. And through the picture, you don't know who he really is. You think he's nuts sometimes. You think he's funny another time. Everybody's has to be kept on edge. And we shot this in Munich, Germany. We had 2 stuntmen work with him to make him fall forward. Just try it yourself one day. Stand up and try and fall forward, and you'll understand how difficult something like that is. And it worked beautifully.
One thing I got from the original that I didn't get, and I think I have this thing with doing remakes. Why remake Psycho when you're doing it frame for frame? And we've already been down that road when you have better performances from the original cast. And why make Planet of the Apes? And now with your film, why take... And there were some things that I liked in the Tim Burton thing, some fleshing out maybe some history, but really the ending of your movie, when you see this Charlie who is just this epitome of unconditional love, and he's got the gobstoppler, and Willie has said, you didn't win, get out, you touched the fizzy lifting drink, we had to clean it and all that stuff.
God, you know all the lines.
And so then anyway, but he sets that gobstoppler down, and then Gene doesn't turn around. He puts out his hand, and I forget the line that he says, but it's something about,
You've won, my boy.
But no, it was before that. The line he quotes something that the preciousness of children.
A place so shines a good deed in a wicked world.
Yes, and he does that, and then there's a beat.
I think that's probably from Shakespeare.
Yeah, then there's a beat, and he turns around, and you won. And that, I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I still get ripped when I see that.
See, the whole thing is what I wanted to do was to make a film about a man finding a son. So we got rid of Charlie's father, so that at the end you feel here's a man that's found the child that he's wanted all his life, and the child has found the father figure that he's needed all his life.
Yeah, because there isn't a strong presence of the father. You have the grandfather, and we don't really know where the father is.
Well, I took the father out.
Yeah.
And just the woman was just alone, and the father didn't exist. But that was all Roald Dahl. We worked it out, and that was his idea too. And Charlie had to prove himself. with the fizzy lifting machine and everything else. And
so in some ways, it's almost, it's the quest, isn't it?
Yeah.
In such a way.
It's a quest, and it's a quest for a man for a son, too, and both. And so you're very happy at the end, something wonderful's happened.
Were you happy with the finished product of Willy Wonka?
Oh, yeah. There was only one mistake I made.
Oh, tell me.
And that's because I'm arrogant. I used to be a musician, and when he's opening the door to the factory, the candy room, the main chocolate room, he plays a little piece on the piano. Right.
Yeah.
And it's diddle-diddle-dum, diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-dum, and it's from Mozart's Marriage
Right.
of Figaro. But, and then the woman says Rachmaninoff, which is a very funny joke, but nobody in the audience knew the Marriage of Figaro. It should have been bum, 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 and everybody would have got the joke of Rachmaninoff because everybody knows it's Beethoven. But being what I was musically, I left it in. I didn't take it out. I should have.
Well, so you go from that, and then you do a totally different piece. You do Wattstax.
Wattstax was, I'll do it very quick. We shot this big concert, and we looked at everything. I made a condition. I said to the people, the Stax people, who were all African Americans, I said, the way we do this picture is there's only one white person on it, and all the rest of the people are black. And I'll be the white person because I have some experience in making documentaries.
Oh, so you wanted to employ some African Americans then?
No, I didn't want to employ them.
Oh.
I knew that they could get what I wanted better. I did want to employ them because they didn't have an opportunity back in 1973 to work. But I also wanted they could understand the feeling of the time, and a white person couldn't. So I was surrounded all by black executives and black cameramen, so forth. And after we shot everything, we put it together, and I realized it was just a concert, and I said, we need something more. I said, I like Shakespeare, and there's a play called Henry V, which the people weren't too familiar with, and I said, I need somebody called a chorus. What's that? I said, the chorus is a man who explains what the play's about, because Henry V is so big, if you didn't have a chorus, you wouldn't understand where you were. And I said, I need a chorus who's very funny and knows the neighborhood. And they said, well, there's this little guy in a little club down in Watts, and if you go down and see him, I said, I'll go down, all of us together. And we went to this club, and they said, he may be your chorus. And I walked in, and here was this little skinny guy, nobody knew who he was outside. And it was Richard Pryor. And that's how he got the first feature he did. And I knew I was in the presence of a comic genius. And I put him in and out of the show as the Henry V chorus.
If you like the podcast, don't forget to give us a like and please subscribe. Until next time, this is Mark Gordon, and I'll see you center stage.
Center stage, center stage, center, center, center stage. Center stage.
Center Stage is taped in front of a live studio audience.
Hello, this is Homer Simpson. Whenever I want to know what's going on in the entertainment world, I listen to Center Stage with Mark Gordon.